Welcome back to Great Day. It is a harsh side effect of the pandemic with no easy answers. Landlords need the rent to be paid to keep their property, but many tenants can't make the payment because they lost jobs. A CDC moratorium on evictions has a deadline, and these protections can be complex and hard to navigate anyway. Constable Rosen with Harris County Constable's Office Precinct 1 has teamed up with the public interest attorney Eric Kortler to create the Evictions Assistance Hotline. Renters can find free legal aid. So grab a pen, and I'll have a number for that hotline in just a few minutes. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Constable Rosen, I would imagine that you get lots of calls where there is a friction between landlords and renters. It's a very emotional situation.
It really is. It's the worst part of my job to have to evict somebody, but I as a fiduciary duty, part of my job is I do. It's the worst, though. So we had somebody that actually followed a national news agency, and we were able to, because of that story, we started a GoFundMe account, and it raised $250,000. And I thought, what better way can I help people and help them, during this terrible time that they're going through? And so I partnered with South Texas College of Law at Houston, Lone Star Legal Aid, people like Eric, who are experts on helping people stay in their home. And we're going to do everything we can to try to help people avoid, the eviction. This moratorium, or these CDC guidelines is what we like to call it, really do place some restrictions on landlords for kicking people out of their home. And so I'm just happy to be impactful to as many people as we possibly can, because during this pandemic, we can't have people out and staying with relatives and further spreading this virus.
Yeah, and Eric, you had reviewed over 5,000 cases pro bono with law students. The Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, it's complex, and people were kind of confusing what it really meant. So can you, in a nutshell, tell us what it really means, or is it still that complex even for you?
So if we're talking about the CARES Act, there are few protections that are still in place from the CARES Act right now. Most of the protection that we're doing, especially with in concert with the Precinct 1 Constable's Office, focuses on the quote-unquote CDC moratorium, the moratorium that was issued by the CDC on September 4th that allowed people to say, hey, I can't pay my rent. I will be homeless if I leave my home, so I need to have my eviction delayed. Yeah. So right now, our program is focused on helping people understand whether that would be an appropriate route for them, and if so, helping them fill out those forms and making sure those forms get to the right place.
Yeah, and helping maybe that they can even stay in the place a little bit longer, because I know where a little confusion also was. Someone told me the other day, well, they can't demand the rent. Well, it's not that you don't owe the rent. It's just that we're trying to keep you in place until you can get a little more steady, correct?
Absolutely, and it's important to remember that. And part of the CDC moratorium is that anyone who signs these declarations saying that they qualify, they have to make payments to the best of their ability. That may end up being none, because the best of their ability may be none. They may have no income,
right.
But they at least have to try. And if they do have enough money to pay at least some of their rent, they do need to start making those partial payments, or they may lose the protections of the CDC moratorium.
Yeah, and Constable Rosen, we mentioned that, law enforcement is part of the official eviction process. Police always on location when there is an official eviction, but landlords must have the official paperwork and the official filings, correct?
Yes, they do. They do, and that's what this is all about. Is again helping people understand the legal process that they need to do in order not to face an eviction. And I really do believe that our Congress and our new president is going to extend this even further and keep people protected and safe during this time. So we have helped over 500 families, and we want to help more. So we want people to call our evictions hotline if they are facing eviction, even if they're not in the eviction process. If they're facing eviction and they know that they're not going to be able to pay their rent, but to call the Evictions Assistance Hotline at 346-250-1069 and get that legal help. It'll make you feel better. You won't be as stressed and and worried. When you get off that phone with these lawyers, they'll be able to help you.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to give that number, 346-250-1069. And Eric, when someone calls, what information should they have available so that you all can help them better?
So we really need to know where you are in the eviction process. It may be that you have not received any kind of notice to vacate. You just know that you're not going to be able to pay your rent. That's fine. We can still help because you can still sign that declaration. But the first thing we need to know is, have you received an eviction lawsuit, or do you have a trial date, anything like that, because that will affect how we handle your case. We also need to make sure that we can help you by understanding where your income status is, because if you have no income, again, that's fine, you may qualify. But if you do have income, we want to make sure that you do qualify for this moratorium, because there are significant penalties for people who sign these declarations but shouldn't. So part of what we do is not only help people fill these out, but help people understand that maybe it's not the right route for them. And if not, that doesn't mean that they can't avoid eviction. That doesn't mean there's no way that they can possibly fight this process. But we usually refer them to the Eviction Defense Coalition or Lone Star Legal Aid or our own intake line and say, hey, maybe you should talk to a lawyer about your case.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. I know so many people, at one point in my life, I didn't know where I was going to go, and it was very stressful. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Deborah. God bless.
All right. You can call the Evictions Assistance Hotline. Again, that number is 346-250-1069, 346-250-1069. And for more information, visit greatdayhouston.com, and we'll connect you as well.